I feel as though I've been checked out of society for quite a while now. And what I mean by this is that I don't keep up with the latest trends. I don't care what celebrities, influencers, or politicians are doing. In fact, I'm constantly out of the loop with that. I don't check the news much anymore. I don't engage in online debates or discussions too much. I don't have a group of friends that I go out with. I'm in my own head a lot, and I've tried to be more grounded and more mindful of things, and it's actually been happening more and more because I have been more checked out of society. And this explains why some of you guys come on the live. You're asking me of my opinion of certain things that are like current events, and I'm just here like, I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm out of the loop with this stuff. And a few years ago when I've had some friends and I've kind of told them I've been sort of out of the loop with things or whatever, like back then, like I would say 2022, some people acted kind of like I was being ignorant or like it was bad. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, you know, when somebody's like not a good citizen, ignoring my civic responsibilities, or because I live in the country I live in, like I'm privileged enough to not check what's going on according to other people, right? And I'm like, I get where they're coming from, but constantly checking the news, checking social media, checking what's going on is not good mentally. And I'm sure that's a given by now. And then I actually went the complete opposite in 2023, where I was going down rabbit holes. I was in Telegram groups. I was like going down the rabbit hole of the word that starts with C and ends with Y, and then the second is T and then ends with S. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if saying it on here is going to be a problem, but I was going down badly down that rabbit hole. And I was stressing myself out so much. I was constantly checking the news. I had friends who were constantly telling me like what was going on in the world. Like I was I couldn't do it. I was also going through the withdrawals. I was so overwhelmed. I was so stressed to the max. It wasn't even, it was actually a big problem. Then I started less and less and less checking stuff, and it leads me to now in 2026, where I can't be bothered anymore. I have had Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all that stuff deleted since I was a teenager. And I'm glad. And I never went back. Because honestly, all social media does is make you compare your life to people, feel like you're missing out, FOMO, and feel like you're less than, and be overwhelmed. And it makes the world look so much scarier, so much more chaotic than it needs to be, especially when you have responsibilities at home, especially when you have people to take care of, especially when you have mental or physical health conditions. Like, you cannot afford even more stress that is unnecessary, because we have a choice to not engage. And I think for some of us, some people, it's an addiction to keep checking the news, to keep checking, oh, did people reply to me, to keep checking forums, to keep checking threads, to keep checking comment sections, to keep checking things over and over again. It's like an addiction, and it's an addiction that needs to be stopped because it is detrimental to your well-being. There's so much going on in this world. We cannot afford to just keep doom scrolling, wasting our time. We can't afford to do that. We can't. I noticed a change. I'm more focused on what I need to be focused on. I'm sleeping better. I feel more rejuvenated. I feel so much more content being checked out. If we're so focused on everybody else's growth and what they're doing, we're not going to grow, and we're not going to improve ourselves. And I don't feel like I'm living in ignorance. I feel like I'm just living in taking away unnecessary distractions. Some people thrive off of drama, thrive off of draining people, thrive off of all that stuff. You know what? I thrive off of peace. I thrive off of disconnection. I thrive off of growing and healing. Again, for so long, I was just addicted to checking news, to checking forums, to checking articles, to keep checking, even health symptoms. It was so bad. It was really bad. So from one person to another, please be careful what you consume, not just online, okay? Even in person. I avoid big crowds. I like to do things when there's not many people. I mean, if I have to, okay, it's whatever. But like, I do things to kind of try to not be in like big, busy areas. Even if I go away somewhere, like I like doing things like off peak time. I feel like a night owl. I just don't like when there's many people around. And I think it's also because I have there's a word for this. It's like when somebody's sensory or like nervous system or processing system is it's highly sensitive. It's very like attuned to things. It's very like, very aware, and it's just very overwhelming. Nothing wrong with this if you're like this, but the people that like nightlives and parties and having all these friends and having all these like obligations to people and obligations to things, I don't know how they do it. Just thinking about it makes me feel like I can't breathe. Like I'm already anxious. It just seems very overwhelming. And even just volunteering, like I volunteered yesterday and I just felt like out of place. Like I felt this way for so long, but it sucks. It sucks sometimes. You feel like something's wrong with you, or like, oh well, this society is not like, I feel like I'm not built for this society. It's just too overwhelming, and that's where people spiral down into these dark thoughts and sadness and problems and depression and stuff. But what can help, like if you're feeling that way, just try to check out of unnecessary social media platforms, discussions, all that stuff. Just get rid of it, like my family members, they have more social media than me, and I don't know how they do it because I was so overwhelmed, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I suggest. And even if you're not someone that's overwhelmed, just try doing it. Just try to see how you feel. I think you will have a positive result. I think that you won't regret it. I don't think there's many people that regret getting off social media or taking a break. I feel like there's more people that regret I think there's more people that regret not doing that, or wishing that they got off social media sooner, or just weren't on their phones as often, or they did stuff more outside, like outdoor activities, or meeting people in person. Like when I was a child, a lot of you guys know around the age I am, or my exact age, I did have, like when I was like really, really young, going outside. Well, people weren't really riding their bikes outside at the time. I'm a little bit younger than that. It's more okay, I'll put it this way. I didn't get like an iPad or iPod at like 4 years old, but I wish that maybe there was a little more of a delay, especially through certain ages, because a lot of things I shouldn't have been exposed to so young happen. And that's why if I were to have kids in the future, I would make sure that, like for a while, that they just weren't on screens or social media, as a lot of us would try to instill certain beliefs and ways of life to our kids. So anyways, with that being said, I will close off this video to say, if you're somebody who feels very checked out of society, or feels like you don't want to participate or engage anymore, I get you, like going into the woods or being somewhere very isolated where no one's at, or like barely anybody's at, is such a good feeling, that feeling of. And look, I know that. And yes, there's this argument of like everybody wants to go to the airport when there's nobody around, or the grocery store, or the mall, or the streets, or whatever, right? Like driving somewhere. But there's a difference between obviously not wanting things to be busy versus like actually feeling heavy, or feeling as though it's just too much. I'm going to end it off on this note. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know down below how you guys feel. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.